The village of Umuoma was a place of peace, where laughter echoed through the thatched huts and children ran barefoot on dusty paths. In this village lived two sisters, Ije and Amara. Though born of the same mother, they were as different as night and day. Ije, the elder, was strong-willed and determined, with sharp features that carried the weight of her ambitions. Amara, on the other hand, was soft-spoken and gentle, her beauty as effortless as the morning sun. With skin like polished mahogany and eyes that sparkled with kindness, Amara was adored by everyone. "Look at Amara," the village women would say, watching her fetch water from the stream. "She is as beautiful as the river goddess herself." Ije would hear these words and swallow the bitterness rising in her throat. No one ever spoke of her in such a way. Though she worked hard, her efforts always seemed to go unnoticed. It was Amara who was praised, Amara who was chosen for dances and village ceremonies, Amara who was showered with love. One evening, as they returned from the stream, Ije couldn't hold back her frustration. "Amara," she asked, her voice sharp, "why does everyone love you so much?" Amara laughed, brushing off the question. "What do you mean, sister? They love you too." Ije clenched her jaw. Did they? If they did, why did she always feel like she was standing in her sister's shadow? As they walked home, the whispers of the villagers followed them, speaking of Amara's beauty, her grace, her kindness. Ije lowered her gaze, fists clenched at her sides. She was tired of being unseen, and deep in her heart, a dangerous thought took root. She would find a way to change things, no matter the cost. Ije couldn't sleep that night. She lay on her mat, staring at the thatched roof, listening to the steady rhythm of Amara's breathing beside her. The words of the villagers echoed in her head. "She is as beautiful as the river goddess herself." Ije turned on her side, clenching her fists. Why did they never compare her to a goddess? Why was she always just Ije? Plain, unnoticed, forgotten. The next morning, as they walked to the market, Ije's mood remained sour. Amara, as usual, was cheerful, greeting everyone with a smile. "Ije! Amara!" called Mama Ngozi, the market seller. She was a plump woman with a loud voice and a love for gossip. The sisters stopped at her stall where baskets of ripe mangoes and groundnuts were neatly arranged. "My daughters," she said, beaming. "Amara, you grow more beautiful every day, oh. Ha! If I had a son, I would make sure he married you." Amara laughed shyly. "Mama Ngozi, you flatter me too much." Mama Ngozi turned to Ije and gave her a small nod. "You are strong, my child. That is also good." "Also good?" That was all she had to say. Ije's chest tightened as she forced a polite smile. The bitterness she had felt the night before returned, stronger than ever. As they left the market, she finally spoke. "Amara, do you ever get tired of people praising you all the time?" Amara blinked. "Praising me? Ije, I didn't ask them to. They just speak their minds. But doesn't it make you feel superior?" Ije pressed. Amara frowned. Ije, why would I feel superior? We are sisters. Sisters. Ije wasn't sure she believed that anymore because for the first time in her life, she wasn't sure she wanted to be Amara's sister. She wanted to be Amara. That evening, their mother, Mama Eke, noticed Ije's sour mood. As they prepared dinner, she watched her eldest daughter with concern. Ije, what troubles you? She asked, slicing a yam. Nothing, Mama, Ije replied quickly, avoiding her mother's eyes. Mama Eke wasn't fooled. She had raised Ije and knew when something was wrong. She set down her knife and placed a gentle hand on her daughter's shoulder. My child, do not let bitterness take root in your heart, she said. Envy is like a fire. It burns everything, even the one who sets it. Ije swallowed hard, forcing a smile. I am fine, Mama. But she wasn't. That night, as Amara slept soundly, Ije lay awake, her mother's words echoing in her mind. Envy is like a fire. Perhaps. But what if fire was the only way to get what she deserved? The annual village festival was a time of joy, filled with music, dancing, and feasting. Every year, the most beautiful maiden was chosen to perform the sacred dance before the elders. This year, Amara was selected. As the drummers played and the crowd cheered, Amara stepped forward, adorned in beads and a flowing wrapper. She moved with grace, her beauty radiant under the evening sun. Ije stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding. Why is it always her? As Amara twirled, smiling at the admiration in the eyes of the villagers, Ije's nails dug into her palms. I deserve to be up there. And in that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. The festival was still lively when Ije slipped away. She walked aimlessly, her mind racing. That was when she saw her. A hunched old woman stood by a tree, watching Ije with piercing eyes. Her skin was wrinkled like dried leaves, her fingers long and bony. You seek something, the woman rasped. Ije stiffened. I don't know what you're talking about. The woman chuckled. Don't you? She stepped closer. I see the hunger in your eyes, girl. You wish for beauty. You wish for the love your sister receives. Ije's breath caught in her throat. How did she know? There is a way, the woman whispered. A way to take what should have been yours. Ije hesitated. What do you mean? The woman only smiled. Meet me at the edge of the forest at midnight, if you are ready. Then, as quickly as she had appeared, she was gone. Ije's heart pounded. Could this be her chance? At midnight, Ije crept out of the hut, careful not to wake Amara. The moon cast long shadows as she made her way to the forest's edge. The old woman was waiting. Come, she beckoned, leading Ije down a narrow path. They reached the hidden cave, its entrance covered in vines. Inside, a small fire burned, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Strange objects hung from the ceilings. Bones, dried herbs, and jars filled with dark liquids. Ije shivered. What is this place? The place where dreams come true, the woman said. Or nightmares. Ije swallowed hard, but she had come too far to turn back now. What must I do? She asked. The old woman grinned. Drink this. She handed Ije a small clay cup filled with a thick black potion. What will it do? It will take your sister's beauty and make it yours. Ije's heart raced. This was what she wanted, wasn't it? She closed her eyes and drank. The potion burned as it slid down Ije's throat. Her vision blurred and the room spun. Then, darkness. When she woke, she was lying outside the cave. The old woman was gone. Ije sat up, her body tingling. Something felt different. She ran back home before anyone noticed her absence. As she slipped under her mat, she wondered, had it worked? Only the morning would tell. The next morning, Ije awoke to gasps. Her mother was staring at her, eyes wide with shock. Ije, what happened to you? Ije sat up and touched her face. Her skin felt smooth, her features softer. She grabbed a small mirror. What she saw made her gasp. She was beautiful, more beautiful than she had ever been. Amara, however, looked ordinary. Her once glowing skin was dull, her sparkle gone. Ije's heart pounded. It had worked. The village was in awe. Women whispered about Ije's transformation. Men stared in admiration. For the first time, Ije was the center of attention. She was no longer the forgotten sister. But as she basked in her newfound beauty, she noticed something strange. A shadow, darker than the night, stretched behind her, and it whispered. At first, Ije ignored it, but as the days passed, the shadow grew, and the whispers became louder. At night, she could hear it murmuring her name, echoing her thoughts, repeating her sins. You stole, you betrayed, you will pay. Ije shivered. Had she made a mistake? Ije tried to enjoy her new life, but the whispers followed her everywhere. You stole, you betrayed, you will pay. No one else seemed to hear them, yet they clung to her ears like buzzing flies. At first, she ignored them, but one night, as she fetched water from the stream, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Her shadow did not move like hers. It stretched unnaturally, twisting and shifting even when she stood still. And for the first time, it spoke aloud. You cannot hide, Ije. She dropped her calabash and ran. Meanwhile, Amara was struggling. She no longer felt like herself. Her beauty had faded, and with it, the attention of the villagers. People who once smiled at her now barely noticed her. Even her reflection felt like a stranger. Mama, she said one evening, something is wrong. Her mother studied her carefully. Yes, my child, but not with you. What do you mean? Mama Ike hesitated before answering. There is a balance in life, Amara. When something is unnaturally taken, the world does not stay silent. Amara frowned. Taken? Mama Ike simply sighed. Watch closely, my daughter. Ije's life, once filled with admiration, was slowly turning into a nightmare. The shadow followed her everywhere. It lurched in corners, stretched unnaturally against walls, and sometimes when she looked too long, it smiled. At night, it whispered. During the day, it taunted her. The villagers began to notice Ije's unease. Why does she flinch at nothing? They whispered. Why does she seem so afraid? Ije knew she had to act before people became suspicious. But how could she fight something that wasn't human? Desperate, Ije returned to the forest, searching for the old woman. But the cave was gone. The path she had taken that night had vanished as if it had never existed. Ije! She spun around, heart racing. But there was no one there. Only the shadow, long, dark, watching. Amara, though changed, remained kind. She helped the elderly, cared for children, and carried on as she always had. But people noticed something strange. Ije, despite her beauty, seemed restless. Her once confident walk was now hurried. Her laughter forced. The villagers began to murmur. Beauty does not bring peace? What troubles her? Ije overheard them and clenched her fists. They were starting to see. She needed to stop the shadow before it ruined everything. Hello, my lovely viewers. Hope you are enjoying the story. If you are, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. And also, please stay tuned for the next episode. Let's find out what happens next. Bye.